Well, I couldn't help myself. We got to start off early. Welcome to another beautiful Sunday stock market meeting watch list. We have a ton to go over, and of course, we have to touch on this big old Trump
I couldn't
train
help myself.
coming
We
on
gotta
in. Let me
start
mute
off
myself
early.
really quick.
Welcome
Goodness
to another-
gracious, great balls of fire. I sound good, but I don't need to hear myself twice. Anyway, big old Trump coming in, and he is just, I don't know. I got a poll. Tell me what you guys think. We are going to get 6 votes. 50% say it's a scam right now. I do know that the old Trump is a businessman. He's a businessman, and he knows how to play the cards. And I have a lot to go over, and we're going to touch on this first and foremost because it's hot heat. And of course, we're going to get into the meat of things. We have a lot to go over. We have the CME Fed tool. Of course, we made a little bit of changes with that inflation that's coming in. What's going on? Erica K, B, Stewie already in the building. Let's go, baby. We're going to go over when the next rate of interest change is going to be. Of course, we're going to go over your earnings. We're going to tell you what's coming out this week and the week after. And we're going to look at the economic calendar because I think it's important. We have those jobless claims numbers coming in, and I want to know what to expect. And then, of course, we're going to go over my watch list, my leaders list. And once that's all said and done, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open up the chat to make sure that everybody gets a voice, that every single person gets a voice in the chat, so that way we do not have to worry about anybody missing out on what their ticker may be. We do have a few stipulations this time, though, but we'll go over that very soon. But while we are here, before we start the show, we got about 6 minutes. There's a few things I do want to say about old Mr. Trump here. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was a little surprised. We got DJT out there, the Trump social media, whether, I've never seen it, never used it, nothing like that. And I don't form biases so much. I am a technical trader. And whether you want to or not, this could be a sell the news event. Now, do you think it's going to continue down, Dave? I don't. I think that this is a huge push up and a huge pullback. Off of its base, which is amazing to see here, it went up over 650%. We are down. We're only up 260%. So, it's still holding a lot of its gains, and now it's trading sideways. And you can see here on the RSI line, it did have that oversold conditions there, and it got bought right back up. So we're going to see if it wants to hold this area and start to make a new higher low off this bottom. Regardless, I am not playing this. I know that there are a lot of you that are out there. And now if you haven't already heard, Milana has now came out with her own coin. And I was in the chat room earlier, and it is crazy to me that within 5 hours of her releasing a meme coin, it was already on cryptocurrencies where you could buy it within 5 hours. Talk about a Prezi pump. That's absolutely crazy. So I don't condone to this. I think it's a little too volatile, and there's plenty more that I want to talk about this. So we're going to touch on this just for a few more minutes, and then we're going to get into the meat of it, guys, the meat of it, what you guys all really want to know, where the market's headed, the overall S&P 500, and then, of course, we have our interest rates that are very concerning because I promise you, if we see the initial jobless claims numbers come out a little higher and we're still worried about inflation, that's going to be a good sign for the overall market. But if it's too high, that's going to be very dangerous for the job labor market. So we'll go over all that very soon. We only have about 3 more minutes. I just wanted to show you a few of these pictures. I just got the old certification on Grok here, and we were playing with the pictures and checking things out. So I just put Trump up here with a couple of money bags.
Brother.
What's going on?
Appreciate your
What
support.
is that, Sneed? Sneed, thank you for the subscription. You keep me going, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you. And if you guys haven't already, go check out my latest YouTube interview. It was a doozy with Dan the Man from Charting, guys. It was probably the absolute best interview that I have had so far. And, I could not ask for much more. He was extremely supportive, and we had an absolute blast. And of course, with 17 of you already in here, make sure you vote on that poll. Do you think the Trump coin is the greatest investment opportunity? 17% agree. Scam, 33% say. Unsure what is going on exactly, 25%. and here for the jaw jockey to spit some truth. I'm here to spit that truth. And, you know, I'm leaning more towards scam. Why? What is this thing worth? Am I going to take my Trump coin and do what with it? Can I enter the inauguration with a couple of Trump coin? Here you go. Here's a few shills. Let me get into the inauguration. You know, like, what exactly is going on with this? But what I do know is it is pure entertainment, folks. It really is. You know, I think things are only going to get crazier. I really do. But he's doing exactly what he said he's doing. He wants to judge his performance on the, judge my performance on the market, on the coins. Crypto's going to be loose and wide. Horrible impersonation. But that's what I got for you. And you know what? We're just going to get started, folks. I have so much to go over. And we're going to start with this Trump coin first and foremost. So I hope you guys stick around all the way till the end. If this is your first time with me, welcome. My name is David Worrell. Welcome to the show. We are swing traders focused on momentum trading. We try to find and capitalize using the daily time frame, those trend-based breakouts. And when they break out, we grab a hold and we find proper risk management when we do. So our losses are small and our gains are large. So if you can get behind that, whether you're brand new or a seasoned vet, hit that like and subscribe. Let's get this party started, baby. All right. We got Anals Gado. What's going on? Jabbar Abdullah Khan. What's going on? I think I said the whole name right. Noah Noe in the building. What's going on, Noe? It's good to see you. Jimmy Bright, as always. Glad you're here. Yosef, Dan Bob, B. Stewie, and Erica K in the building. And we got a few lurkers in the background, but stop in, say hello. Say hello. I'm glad that you are here. So we are going to get into the meat of it. Of course, I don't usually talk about currency or Bitcoins. I don't usually talk so much about crypto, but I just found this so entertaining. And you have to understand, guys, I'm a technical trader, so I still love to look at charts. This is a 5-minute time frame. We've seen a beautiful push up here on a lot of volume, and you can see it traded sideways. What I found interesting on this 5-minute was this beautiful trending setup. And look at this. A huge dump. But I need to tell you guys and make you understand why, if you are so excited about this coin, whether it goes up or down, you need to understand that you're playing with fire. You think biotechs are dangerous because they can come out with an FDA approval the next day and completely shit the market, sweep it out from underneath you, pull that rug? Well, let me tell you a little something. The ownership, I had to make sure, is through Trump's business affiliates. According to various reports, 80% of the Trump tokens are controlled by CIC Digital LLC and Fight LLC. Both sounds like outstanding companies, right? So you have to understand right away, yes, Trump does own this. Yes, he has posted this on his social media, X and Truth, okay? So he is in cahoots with this. This is a real thing. But you need to understand that 80% of it is owned by these two LLCs. That is rug pull city. That means the 20 of us, not 20 of us, but the 20% of us that are buying these coins, okay? And don't get me wrong, if you're holding it, I'm rooting for you. I want you to make millions, okay? I want you to buy your own Trump Tower, I really do. But we have to understand what we're playing with here. If you're playing with fire, well, don't feed the fire onto the logs. Make sure you're using proper risk management. That's all I ask. If you're going to play this and you're going to use a technical pattern, play this understanding that you're playing with fire, so fight fire with risk management, okay? Set your stop loss. If you can't, then watch it. Keep a close eye and know when to sell. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong, okay? So if you got in here up at the top, personally, my stop loss would have been at a previous lower high. Of course, I don't play this because it's too volatile and it's too crazy, right? This is not for me, but it might be for you. If you like these coins, you want to throw a few shills at it, be my guest, but know that you're playing with fire. Of course, in conclusion, Trump coin is indeed affiliated with Donald Trump through ownership of entities connected to his business empire. Despite the official disclaimer trying to separate it from his political activities, the coin launch has been both a financial and political statement, aligning with Trump's recent advocacy for cryptocurrency. However, it is important to approach this with caution due to the speculative and volatile nature of the meme coins and the ethical questions surrounding its launch and timer of the ownership. Now, regardless of what you think about the political parties or what you think about any of it, what you need to understand is Trump is a businessman, okay? If he can make money, he's going to make money. That's what he does, first and foremost, just so you know. So, don't come crying to me. Don't come crying to me if you get hurt. Make sure you use risk management if you're going to be doing something like this. What's going on, Michael Taylor? Erica K in the building. Predator. Trang. What's going on, guys? It's good to see you. All right. Let's just get right into this. The very first thing that I need to bring up that everybody needs to be aware of is this CME Fed tool. Now, I have a feeling it is going to change, just like it did. Remember last September when I said our first rate cut is going to happen? Well, it started where it was, I think it wasn't going to start cutting until April, and then it moved up 3 months, and then they added a double cut, okay? So with that being said, this can move up, and you're going to see it move up as different pieces of inflationary news, like the CPI, like the jobless claims data. We'll go over that very, very soon. But let's take a look at this. So January 25th, the Fed is going to have a meeting. That meeting is about what? Rate cuts, or in this case, a rate stay. Right now, our current target range is between 4.25 and 4.50. Where are we headed for January on the 25th, which is within 6 days? You can see it right here, 99.5% that we are going to have a rate stay. Why is this important? Because if we are going to continue to rate stay, that means it's still going to be hard for the big banks to lend these monies out to the bigger corporations. When bigger corporations have easy lending, cheap borrowing money, they borrow that money and then they use it to build, to further their advancements in their business, okay? To buy the supply. More supply, there's more that you can sell, right? Long story short, guys, when we look at this, we want to see that we are going to continue to cut and get back down to that 3.25 before the inflationary money printer decided to come in and start burning, okay? So keep that in mind. And of course, if you guys stay to the very end, I am going to go over every one of your tickers. So make sure if you guys have a ticker that you want asked, think about it, hold it in the back of your head. We're going to get through the meat of this. I want to make sure everybody understands that we have a watch list for you. I focus on leaders. Some of you guys like to veer from those leaders and find more speculative assets that move much, much faster. I understand that. I've been there. I've done that. But I like to focus on leaders. But we still can look at the technical analysis in all of it. So let's get through the meat of it. We'll give you my watch list. And then, of course, I will be here tonight to go over each and every one of your trades. So Pranith, you hold on to that ticker, INTC. We will look at that for you just a little later, okay? Stay until the end. Next up is March. March is our first time that we actually start to see a possibility of a rate cut. Now, I don't think we've seen this last week. You guys will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we had a rate stay still much higher than that 71.6%. Well, the CPI index came out and it is changing things up a bit. We have a 28% chance for a quarter of a rate cut. That's a good sign, and that is a big reason why the market started to head higher. Next is in May. You can see right here, we actually have a 37% chance. We actually have a much better chance and a small chance to actually have a cut of 50.50 basis points. That is absolutely amazing because that would bring us down to 3.75 to 4.0. That is getting very, very close to the easy borrowing that we had before COVID, okay? Now, if we go all the way to June, that's when things start to look a little seasoned, a little delicious, a little bit of that barbecue sauce on the Barbie, right? 44.6%. We have now a much higher expectancy to actually start cutting those rates, and we actually have a half and 3/4 of a rate cut possibility as well. Of course, much, much lower on this scale. But when we look at this, this is great news, but we have to wait all the way until June for this, June 25th. Or is this, I'm sorry, this might, June 18th, excuse me, 2025. So when we see this, it's very, very important to understand when those rate inflationary pieces of data comes out. This is going to change, and the higher these probabilities go, the quicker and higher the overall market is going to go, because why would anybody want to hold on to their money anymore when we could put it into speculative assets that are going to continue to grow our money? There's a lot of argument out there that things are overvalued, but the market doesn't give a shit what you think. And I really want to make a quote. You know how there's always quotes out there? It's like, you know, blah, 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 blah. So Benjamin Button, you know, I want to do, the market doesn't care what you think, market. Or I don't care what you think, market. You know, I think that's going to be a big thing. Maybe we should put that up on the YouTube. So anyway, guys, June is looking for the best probability. Now we could go down the rabbit hole and talk about July. We could talk about September, where we're starting to see some bigger and better numbers. But we really just want to focus on June. Just like for 3, 4, 5 months there, I was focused on September. Let's focus on June, okay? And it's going to be a ways out, but as long as we continue with these positive data, we're going to continue to see higher expectancies for rate cuts. Okay, so that's all I have for that. Let's move on now to the earnings. If you guys haven't seen this, I showed you last week. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing, guys. It's earnings season, and if you don't like earnings season, you need to get the f*** out of here. Yeah, I bleep myself. Cheers. This one's for you, not for me, but I am so pumped to be here with you. Thank you guys so much for being here, and if you haven't already, do me a favor. If you're learning anything, if you love the show, or if you're just bored out of your mind, hit that like and subscribe, baby. While I take a sip, this jaw jockey needs a bit of a break. Now, if you can see what I'm seeing here, yes, you can see. Do you see what I see? There we go. That's a little bit better view for you there. We have 3M. We have Charles Schwab. Yes, we have more banks, United Key Banks coming out. There's a lot, Capital One, a lot of those banking numbers coming out, and we'll look at XLF after this, which is the financial ETF, doing decent. And you can see here, my baby, right here, Netflix is going to come out with their earnings. Watch out, volatility is expected. I thought we were going to do this, that we were going to cover this. I have my children. I'm going to put family first. I'm not going to stress myself out on getting home and taking care of this. If I do get home in time, we will do this, but I cannot promise you guys, so I'm not going to set it in stone right now. But Netflix is going to be very volatile, and I do expect and would appreciate each and every one of you to watch this, because I think this is going to be a very, very good one. And especially that earnings call is going to be a sweet one. I want to hear what they're doing next. Of course, I don't watch TV. I don't stream. All I do is study. I focus on this. I set these things up for you so I can bring you the best of the best. But when people sit, especially in the cold, especially the next week, right, guys? Netflix booms. People love their Netflix. People binge watch these shows. And nobody does it like Netflix. And you can see it because they are the leader in streaming. Of course, on Wednesday, we have Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton, Discovery, another bank, GE Vernova, RLI, Steel Dynamics, Ally, Horizon, and another Cathay Bank down here. We have Huntington, GE Aerospace on Thursday. I think that's going to be a great one. I know B. Stewie's will be watching that one there. We have CSX, Union Pacific, Alaskan Airlines. That'll be a very interesting one, in my opinion. And then on Friday, we have Verizon, American Express. But remember, next week, I'm pretty sure it's the 19th, if I remember correctly. No, not the 19th. The 20... I'm going to have to look. I'll have to take a peeky gander in a little while, guys. But we have a big earnings day. We got multiple earnings on one day. Guys, help me out with that. Let me know what day. I think it's Microsoft. Is it Apple? There's multiple days coming out. And you can find all this information right here on Earnings Whisperer, on X, on Twitter here. And if you guys want to go ahead and give me a like, you're more than welcome to. My name is David Worrell. I'm under Rear Naked Trader right here. And I'll just throw this right up right here just for you. Go ahead and swing on by. Give me a follow. We try to have the best information or retweets on there so that way you guys can get the best up-to-date stuff on there. Okay, so that's what we got. That's what we're doing. That is the economics. I'm sorry, not the economics, but the earnings calendar for you. Now, this is what I promised right here. We want to talk about initial jobless claims, but first and foremost, Martin Luther King Day. There is nothing going on in the stock market. There's nothing. So you might see initial movement in the morning just because of the, from different areas and the imbalances working themselves out. But the United States is celebrating Martin Luther King Day on Monday, so the markets will not be open. We will be open on Tuesday, but keep in mind, on Thursday at 8:30, we have this initial jobless claims, and I like to read it verbatim for you. Initial jobless claims is very, very important because if more people are filing for unemployment, you'll find that that shows that inflation is still working on coming down, right? We want to see, and I know it sounds bad, but you want to see more people losing their job, filing for unemployment. I shouldn't say that. Filing for unemployment because it shows that what he has done with these rate hikes are actually working, because less people with a job means less people are spending money, means there is more supply, overhead supply. When you have more supply and less demand, that brings prices down, okay? Right now we're having an issue with homes, and food is our biggest, most inflationary problematic areas. So will this bring down food? Probably not. I think that's going to take a little longer. But initial jobless claims, when this comes out, I'll just read it to you. What it is that measures the number of individuals who filed for unemployment insurance for the first time in the past week. So it's not giving you newer number or old numbers. It's giving you newer numbers, okay? The forecast is 200 and, I'm sorry, that one's not 210. Let me go back here. So the forecast is 220. So it's forecasted higher than the previous. So if we get to see that, I imagine if it is the same or a little higher, that's actually going to be good for the overall market. So do keep an eye on this number. If we see a number that's much, much lower, I think that's going to put more fear into the market, and we might see some fluctuation to the downside. Now, with that being said, there's a few bigger pieces of news that are happening, like on Monday, Martin Luther King Day. We do have the president's inauguration. I hope everything goes solid and smooth with that, and everybody is safe. With that being said, I think there's going to be more volatility from that than we're going to see initial jobless claims. But at the same time, I've seen initial jobless claims come out, and there was extreme volatility in there. Okay, so be very, very careful with that. Yeah, see them egg prices? You ain't kidding. My wife and I, we sat at Aldi's today. Okay, we shop at Aldi's because we went through the whole financial thing. I go for the cheapest that I can, and my goal is to save about $50,000 this year. We're at $3,000 for January, so we're almost on track. Okay. Now, when we stood there with the price of eggs, there were $5, $4.80 something, I think it was. I wish my wife could hear me so she could tell me, but it was close to $5 for a carton of eggs. Are you kidding me? We actually sat there. I hung out with the kid. She ran back to where we bought the eggs because we were both completely mind blown. For 2 dozen eggs, we're going to pay close to $10 for 2 cartons of eggs. So yes, I'm very aware. Inflation is crazy. You see them eggs prices? You're damn right I do, Global Defense. And as a father who has children who are smashing and who are eating some food, we got to be careful with those inflationary prices. She went back, checked the prices. We came back. I looked for the average prices of eggs, and they're around $4. So we actually decided that we're going to pay an extra $2. I think it was somewhere around $2.88 compared to what Kroger's was selling them for, because we knew that we needed them and we didn't want to stop. So we agreed right then and there that we were going to pay the $2.80 for convenience sake, but we know for next time we don't get eggs here. Okay, so that's just what we do. If you guys haven't watched it already, I got this whole how to get out of debt and how to focus to make your finances so you can save as much money as you possibly can and just be financially free, right? You got to pay off that house and those credit cards and the student loan debt and all that BS. And we go over all that. So check out the previous videos. So yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. We want to see inflation to come down. It is very, very sticky. And I know Jerome Powell, he has a tough job. It would be a very tough job, especially with everybody breathing down your neck like that. Now, before we carry on to the watch list, because we've already ran through this, baby, do me a few favors. I got 2 favors to ask for you, okay? First of all, I have a link tree. This link tree, I'm going to go ahead and post right meow in this chat. Bada bing, bada boom, there you go. I used the wrong one to post it. Let me go ahead and do this. Boom, use that link, guys. I want you to go ahead and check out that link tree. We have a little bit of everything in there for you, but while I have your attention, take a little peeky gander at my screen, if you would, please. And I want you to smash this like button. I'm going to refresh this. We have, I think, 20 of you watching right now. I appreciate each and every one of you being in here. We have 14 likes, so I know we got some of you in there. Make sure you voting on what you think about Trump coin. Let me know. We got 16 votes there, and we have 21 of you watching and only 14 likes. What do I got to do? What do I got to do to get you to hit that stinking like button? It's A-okay. I still appreciate you guys being here, but smash that like button because I'm going to come back and check. And then, of course, this link tree gives you a little bit of everything. You click on that YouTube, it's going to take you right to the page. Click on this risk management video. Learn risk management before you start trading. Of course, learn risk management before you start trading. And then, of course, if you have not watched it yet already, you need to go right here to videos and watch this amazing interview with Dan McDermott from the Chart Guys. We did a little less than an hour session with Dan McDermott, and he is a 7-figure trader. He turned $3,000 in the course of 14 years to millions and millions and millions of dollars. He is an absolute saint. He gave me the time of day. He did not have to do any of that, and he did it all of the kindness of his heart. And I sure had fun, not just doing it with him, but editing the show with him too. So go check that out. We have gotten some amazing feedback from that. So go ahead and do that for me, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's see. I think it's time. I think we can jump right into my watch list. Now, some of these you're going to see are from last week. I've added a few. I've taken a few out. But that is what I do when I keep a very close eye on the leaders. All right? So be sure that you focus on these leaders. There's a big reason why we focus on leaders, because when the leaders lead and the laggers lag, and then the overall market starts to pull back, then you're going to have issues because the leaders that lead hold up the best in the market, and the laggers that were lagging will fail hard. Of course, there's always some exceptions to this, but you need to understand we focus on leaders because the leaders lead. We want to find that momentum. And of course, if you join our Discord, which is absolutely free, in our resource page, you can find this beautiful piece of information here. If you want to play CrowdStrike, we have CRWL, which is a 2x leverage. You want to play MSTR, you can use MSTU. It's much cheaper to do with 2x leverage. So you can still play the volatility, you can still play the stock, but you can play it in a cheaper way. As long as you're trading like I am and using risk management, you can be safe trading these, but just keep in mind, there is still some inherent risk with this, okay? So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're not gonna go over every single thing that's out there. There's a few things that I want to focus on, and first and foremost, that's gonna be the NASDAQ, okay? The NASDAQ, it's absolutely a beautiful thing. It has been leading this market. The S&P 500 looks quite similar, but is not quite there yet. Where the NASDAQ had a very clean break, the S&P 500 is actually creating still a new lower low. We still have a little ways to break above that $600 area. So we're gonna focus on the NASDAQ. I am risk on. We are above all moving averages, and I'm very happy to say that. But instead of just getting all in all at once, I started to take some starters, and we can go over my charts and what I am in right now. But for now, let's go over the leaders. Now, NVIDIA has quite a few that you can pair this with. I'm going to tell you my favorites in this area, but first I want to look at the ETF, SMH. This is your semiconductor ETF, and you can see we've pulled the anchored VWAP off of this low right here. And you can see right where it lands, it's showing a lot of support here, a lot of support. B Stewie's going to be proud. He's going to say, yeah, nice anchored VWAP, right? Well, all of this support here, holding up very, very nice. You can see we're stuck in a channel. This top right here is being held off and sold off into, and this low is being held here. So we're in a channel right now. Okay, where are we going to break? To the north side, to the south side, or are we just going to trade sideways? It's all very, very good questions, but what we can do is we can look at the leaders in this sector for clues. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is still hanging out, lingering around like some bad breath at these all-time highs. Now, I'm a fan of NVIDIA. I think what they're doing is great. And I still think this needs time. When you push up off of these lows in a matter of a year, let me just pull this off of here. In a matter of a year, you're going to go up as high as 217%. As a company this big, guys, we're talking 3.37 trillion. Let me say that again. This market cap is 3.37 trillion. That's bigger than some countries, okay? That is huge, guys, or I should say huge. It's huge, okay? It can still go higher. It really can. The speculative crap that's out there right now, you can't tell me anything can't go any higher because it will. So be careful when you're looking at things like this. You say it can't go higher. It can go higher. It can go much, much higher. But because it's trading sideways, I still think there are a few charts out there that are actually looking a little better. Let's take a look at ARM, shall we? ARM is also in that sideways channel, and we have a much prettier looking downtrend. It looks like it's getting ready to break out here above these anchored VWAPs on the daily. Let's pull this from the top, okay? Above all of its anchored VWAPs from the majority of where it has played. We can even pull this one back here to pull a little bit more data, a little bit more information, and it looks like we're above all the anchored VWAP areas. We're seeing a basing area right here. We're kind of smacking right into that, but I think this trend break is pretty important, and if it can hold above that, find some volume and strength, we'll see momentum here, and ARM could continue higher from here. It also gives you a nice area to risk off of. You could use this previous low, or depending on your risk tolerance or what you would like to do, I like to use previous days low. So if you got in, let's say tomorrow, you would set your risk here, because if this does not continue to break out, on Tuesday, if this does not continue to break out, you stop out and you wait for the right time to get in again, okay? That's how I like to play, because I'm a momentum trader. I want to get in when the momentum is good and out if there is no momentum. Next up is going to be AVGO. Now, I actually hold this. This here is my best case scenario. I pointed this best case scenario out for you guys, and I showed you guys here on best case scenario. I would love to see this trade sideways and get much, much tighter before breaking out higher. I actually took this because we were above a 21-day moving average on the NASDAQ, and things were looking relatively good. So I got a starter in a relatively strong 94 RS rating on AVGO, looking very, very good. If we look at the overall earnings on this thing, you can't see the earnings, I'll just show you here. The overall earnings on this thing look really, really good. Quarterly earnings, yearly earnings, and this beautiful trend breakout pattern here. This is what I like to see. If this continues higher, yes, I'm going to hold. If this starts to break down here and break the previous day low, I know that I am not in the stock that I want. I'm not trading my plan. So I will probably exit this. But because it's just a starter, I can hold it a little longer, and I can see, I don't have to exit right at this low. I can see how it holds up. I can see if it wants to continue. I can look at SMH and see how it's holding up. Another semiconductor name that I like to look at is ALAB. ALAB has been holding up very, very well in this market when we had a big pullback. What do we see here? Simple, trend breakout. If this thing breaks out of this area on volume, I want to be there to take a little piece. Analyst says, glad you can make it. I'm glad you're here too, brother. Global Defense says, the market price is trending higher due to H5N1 and what the WHO said Friday. I predict $8 to $10 a dozen this year. Global Defense, what the hell, dude? Don't come in here talking that crap, dude. You know what? Egging has, or I'm sorry, I almost gave away the pun here. Not a pun, but the joke. The best thing about these prices of eggs is you don't see people out there egging houses anymore, right? I mean, at least we can look at the positive, right? It pays to be positive, guys. You know, less eggs, less egging houses. So all you young kids, if you're out there egging houses, we know you're coming from the rich side of town, right? Endless possibilities. I love that name. No, can you guess who this is under secret squirrel name? No E, can you guess that name? Erica K said paid $12 in California. Guys, these egg stories are making me sick. Woo! And you know, I used to eat a dozen eggs. I think this was a year and a half ago. I was bulking up. I was eating a dozen eggs a day, just getting my swole on. Are you kidding me? I ain't doing that now. That is way too expensive, especially if you're living out in California. These egg prices are ridiculous, and you guys are kind of making me sick with these California prices. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. All right, so that is my semiconductor outlook. Of course, we have Tesla. We called this breakout in the Discord, but I was not risk on when we seen this breakout. So this was a trend breakout. It looks really, really well. If you were to play this and you cannot afford $200 or $426, you could play TSLL. There was a trend breakout right here. It actually looked a little better on this, but you don't look at this to play it. You look at Tesla, and right here was the breakout. The retest was the next day. I even called that out in the Discord. So Danny, one of our gentlemen in there, what's up, Carl Bauer? He said, hey, you know, Tesla looks like it's breaking out. And I said, yes, it does. It doesn't show proper risk reward. The retest would be the area. And right here, if you would have played that retest, now, again, I was risk off. So this is, you know, this is all speculation. I was risk off at the time because the market was pulling back, or I wasn't pulling back, but it was still below its 21-day moving average. But it did retest. And when it retested this trend breakout area, look at this, guys. Look at this retest. It tested that trend breakout area, held its previous day's low, which would have been my stop out area. This is where I would have stopped out on that breakout area, okay? We're gonna make this red. That's where I would have stopped out. I would have gotten in somewhere in this area, okay? Let's just say I took the top, okay? That means your risk to reward in this trade, if you're using this right here, you can zoom out, and then my half, I would take out right here. So this just gives you an example of a risk-reward understanding. This is an 11%, or I'm sorry, 11 to R. So means your risk-to-reward ratio is 11.81%. That is proper risk management, okay? Meaning if you risked $1, you're gonna make $11.80 out of this. That's fractal, okay? That is fractal. If you're gonna risk 1,000, then you're gonna get, would that be? That'd be a little over 11,000. It'd be almost $12,000. If you're risking 1,000, you're gonna make $12,000 off this, okay? That's how we like to play. That is a momentum trade. Now, I want you guys to quote me on this. Quote me. Keep an eye on Tesla. Keep an eye on TSLL. Let's imagine that we had played this. This is what we can consider a paper trade. And if you don't know how to trade, I can send you paper trading. It's very, very important. And all you have to do is mark your charts. Sure, there's no emotion in there, but you understand process when you do it, okay? And I know all my new guys are going, what? Paper trade, just mark your charts. And if you want this beautiful charting platform, all you have to do is click my link tree. If you click my link tree, you will find out real quick that this charting platform is absolutely awesome. Right here is TradingView. If you click that, go ahead and download that for absolutely $0. If you want to upgrade to the Essential plan, you can. And if you want more guidance, I can show you exactly how to set up your charting just how I have mine. So make sure you do that, guys. And of course, I can put that in the chat for you right now. Here, I'll do you a little favor. And B. Stewie says, hit that like button. Please do. I appreciate you being here. We have 22 in the chat. We'll check the likes in a little bit. But that is Tesla with the retest. And of course, I just showed you that amazing area. If you would have got in somewhere right here, that amazing breakout, that risk reward of 11. Okay, that is how we're trying to take these trades. So we're going to see, does Tesla continue higher? Will it breach those all-time highs? And if it does, what would you do? I would exit half of my trade, bringing my stop up to break even so I cannot lose out on the trade anymore. And then we're going to see if this thing wants to continue higher. Let's say it right here. You would take out half, it comes back down, and then maybe continues higher. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Tesla and TSLL, but right now I'm holding a few other things. Of course, SEC Limited. This had a beautiful pullback. It's now making a beautiful cup. And of course, just like VST, I called this out on VST, it pulled back, it made a nice roundy bottom, and it made a handle. It broke out. Now it's retesting that same area. Is this the right spot to buy? I sure as hell am thinking about risking a little on this because it gives me proper risk reward. If I get in here, my risk, we can set my risk right here at this area, this 165 psychological and technical area. If not, and you want a wider range because you want to position size this, you could even bring it down to the bottom of the handle of the cup. But you need to risk this to the trade, okay? If you're going to risk this, then you're expecting a reward much higher. So if you're going to get in here and your stop's going to be here, you need to expect to at least get a 4R out of this and take half of your shares up here at 240 will be your price target. So keep that in mind. If you're going to risk more, you have to hold on to that trade a lot longer before you can exit half of that trade to make it worth your money. If not, then your risk potential for your reward potential is not going to work out. You want to make sure that you're risking less and making more. So that's SE. I think we can use VST as a guide. You have a cup, a handle, and a breakout here. So SE to me is looking good. Here's your cup. Now we have to wait for the handle, and then we get a base and cup and handle breakout right here. So keep an eye on SE. I like their fundamentals. I like their RS rating, and I like the technical pattern. And I see you guys sending me some love. I love it. Right back at you. The 100s and the loves coming right back at you guys. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you being here. We also have LX. Now, we called LX out, of course, because I am risk on. I'm not going to get into this thing. It's extended from the 10-day moving average. This is a daily time frame. It is extended from the 10-day moving average now, so I will have to wait until we retest the breakout area or set up a whole new base or trend breakout. But this was your basing area that it broke out from. So you can see every time it got up to that 630 area, it kept hitting its head, it broke up above it, and then traded above it. Volume came in and rip, tater chip to the north side. That's what we like to see. Now, the average volume, I like to see at least over 1 million shares traded in a day. You can see the average volume in the last 30 days is 3.19 million. That is a good sign. And the market capitalization is 1.12 billion, trading at $6.79. So I know some of you out there know E. I know that some of you out there know E. Look for these cheaper trades. And they're here, guys. They're here. Look at this trend breakout as well, all the way down here around the 350 area. Look at this beautiful trend breakout. The issue with this trend breakout, actually, no, earnings was the day before. And then the next day, volume came in. You could have got a hold of this and got a beautiful win. Just for example, guys, this right here, if you would have played this using my structure and you would have risked previous day's low or same day's low, either way, you would have taken half out at a 1 to 9 risk reward. So you could have exited half out here, brought your stop up to break even, and let this other half ride until it closed below this 10 or 21 day moving average. You could have exited here or here, depending on your strategy. So it's looking really good, but this is why we watch these leaders, because now, once again, here is a base breakout. So what do? We want to get in somewhere above this basing breakout. We want to risk the previous day's low. And now, depending on where you're at and what your risk tolerance is, you know, right now you would be up 3R in this trade with your risk being set down here at previous day's low. That's why I like using previous days, because with that being said, you can capitalize on the momentum. That's what we want to do, capitalize on momentum here, okay? Of course, Rocket Lab is still acting well. I'd much rather it be, channeling higher. You know, you can see you got this big area, this uptrend, and it kind of broke down. It's still above a 50-day moving average. Its RS rating is still a 99, so it's doing very, very well in the overall market. But just to kind of condense this information so you guys can see it better, you can see we're just still trading sideways. We're still just trading sideways on the weekly time frame, okay? Keep that in mind. Carl Burr, it's amazing what you can do with TradingView. Yes, it is probably the greatest charting platform. I wouldn't say trading platform. I don't use it to trade, but I love to chart on this platform. I absolutely love it. It's amazing. So I definitely suggest everybody getting a hold of this. Using my link, of course. Using my link. CYBR, this is your cyber, your software, okay? Your technology and package software. Of course, this thing held a beautiful trend breakout. We talked about this in the Discord as well. A beautiful trend breakout, but I was risk off at the time. Now looking for these types of trades. I love it. This gave you multiple areas that you could have gotten in if you were risk on yourself. Me personally, you know, there's times where I'm risk off and other people are very excited and things are very euphoric, but I have to wait. I have to wait for my time. And honestly, sometimes I enjoy my times being risk off because then I can focus on my studies. A lot of times I'm so engrossed and involved with the technical analysis, I don't read as much. I don't look at as many charts. I just focus on my solidified, you know, my main list of 15 or 20 stocks. So sometimes I like to get out, I like to switch things up, I like to study and read, and that gives me a time to breathe in the overall market. So when the S&P 500 does break below a 21 and surely breaking that 50, I am risk off, and then I look for the leaders in the market so we can capitalize when we are above. SMWB, we also called this one out as well as a basing breakout. What I found very interesting with this is we had close to an undercut. We had an undercut and rally here, and then it based out again, and then it kind of tried to undercut, but it created a new higher low there, which made it, in my experience, that makes it a little hard. If we get an undercut and a rally, I want to see it trade sideways, and then after it trades sideways to break above. I didn't like seeing this kind of come back down, but it holding that new higher low is a good sign. So keep that in mind. We do want to keep an eye on SMWB. They are showing earnings. They are making some money. It's nothing crazy, but you know, they're beating their earnings, and the relative strength rating is very, very nice at 98. And of course, guys, I'm very close to being done with my leaders list. I have about 15 to 20 more. We're going to run through them pretty quick, but it's about to get very, very interesting because these are the ones that I truly believe in coming up right now. So make sure if you have a ticker that you want to talk about, you want me to talk about, we're going to let you guys take the floor. Of course, we only have a few stipulations for you this time, so we're going to set the precedents. I'm going to show you what you should and what you shouldn't call out, and it's totally fine if you get it wrong because we want to make sure eventually you get it right. So this next one, I am going to tell you right now, it's one of my number one pieces of stocks to watch. So keep that in mind. This is Reddit, RDDT. Yes. And for the first time ever did I get on Reddit and I joined or subscribed, if you will, to weekly charts. That's all it was called, is I like weekly charts. I do like weekly charts. So now I get on Reddit and I look at just what this one guy posts about weekly charts because I like weekly charts, right? Everybody should. If you're not looking at weekly charts and you're only zoomed in on the 1 and 5 minute time frame, you need to zoom out. Use the 1 minute if you want. I like the 5 minute, the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, and then I'll even go as far as the monthly to see how things are going. So here's Reddit. Here's Reddit on the weekly. You can see we are trading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll call it 5 weeks tight. That is a beautiful thing. And William O'Neill likes to call the 3, the 4, the 5 weeks tight. When you get into a range and things start to get tight, you want to see that contraction after this type of expansion. So here we are with an RS rating of 98. We're trading at 175.33. We keep bonking our head at this psychological and technical area of 180. You better believe my alert is set here. That is RDDT, Reddit, people, Reddit. If it breaks above this 180, I'm going to use the previous day's low as my stop, okay? So let's just say tomorrow, and this was my, if you guys look here, this is my perfect scenario, the perfect storm. Because the longer this thing trades sideways and gets tighter and tighter, the better off it's going to be. But if it does break above this area, just like it did here, I will use the previous day's low if it makes sense in order to take this. Now, this was too wide and loose for me to take, so I let this one go. But let's say this thing does get tight, just like my perfect scenario. We give it some more time, then it takes off. I can use the previous day's low as my stop. Now, if it takes off tomorrow on that 180, I got about $5 I'm willing to throw at Reddit, and I will take it. I will take it about half risk. Instead of using 1% of my account, you know, I'll use half or less than half. But I got about $5 freed up that I'd like to throw at Reddit, and I want to save the rest of my capital for some of these other ones that I'm going to bring up. So watch Reddit, keep a close eye on Reddit. I really, really like this stock, but make sure you're using risk management with this, okay? Next up is Meta. It's starting to get a little wide and loose and choppy here. Of course, it is a leader. I think they're going to do really well in the long term, but short term, this is hard for me to trade, okay? It really is. It's hard for me to trade, but I am keeping a close eye on this. We've seen some beautiful areas where we could play, and if you want to play the cheaper version rather than spending over $600 to get to this METU, I believe, you can get this thing for $36 and play the 2x bull leverage on this. Now, I do hold Google. I took this breakout right here, somewhere in this area, and held on to it. I gave myself, I gave myself a wide area to stop from because I like the exposure in Google. I'd like to see Google take off. And I see VST, I see RES, and I see a few other tickers in the chat. We'll get to them very, very soon. Just hold tight. Hold on to them reins. Whoa there, cowboy. We're going to get to it. Let me just run through these tickers really quick because these are my leaders. See a big cup, a big handle. I would love to see this thing break out. I think this is getting a little loose, but if this can continue to stay in this range, I would just go ahead and switch this up and say, you know, it's more of a basing top now, you know, somewhere right around here. Okay. So let's use 200. Okay. If it can get above that 200 area, that psychological 200 area, I really think this can take off. Of course, we drew this out after we broke up higher. I drew out my perfect scenario, and it really looks like perfect scenario is starting to line up with my idea. Of course, it's not perfect. We stayed a little higher and a little tighter than I assumed. I thought it was going to pull back a little bit further, but it's showing strength. It's showing strength. So Google, it doesn't have a lot of alpha here. You can use a different ETF in this. You guys can see that right here. If you want to just take a screenshot, but if you want to use Google, we have Google on here somewhere, I do believe. But you can use Google, and you can right here, GOOG, you can use GGL or GOOX to find the cheaper version and the 2x leverage of this if you are willing to take that risk. And of course, bros, in the chat, Jolene, our sweet Jolene, sent us a picture of bros, and I'll just show you guys what she put in the chat. This is Dutch Bros. I've never seen one. She's in Cali. I hope you're staying safe out there. But Dutch Bros out here, huge line for Dutch Bros. I was told by No E that it's actually cheaper than Starbucks and better than Starbucks. So that's my first Peter Lynch kind of sign, you know, when you hear good things about Dutch Bros. But what I like to see is the chart here. Now, we had a basing breakout and a retest on this. So if you didn't get it the first time, you had a chance to get it the second time. But I always say buying those retests are very, very hard psychologically because you're like, oh, well, the base breakout didn't work out. It's back down here already. Nope. A lot of the times these retests happen. We actually had a whole Discord meeting on this. So just keep an eye on Bros. It's very, very good. They're making quite a bit of money. They're making waves, and they're making coffee. Yeah, No E, we'll go over AMPX. I'm pretty sure that's still on my watch list. No, I may have taken that off there. But yeah, AMPX is setting up very, very well. Here, I'll bring it up right now. AMPX, this was on my watch list, my leaders watch list. I ended up taking it off here just because it was a little wide here. But I called this out last week as a leader. I was kind of, debating on whether this thing's a leader because I just do not like the fundamentals on this, the quarterly and the annually. Sure, they're starting to make money, but they are so far in debt. But if you're looking at cheap stocks and you want to see a high tight flag, I like this. It's high. It's not that tight. I'd like to give it a few more days. This thing is starting to tighten up. Best case scenario for me, it does this for about 2 or 3 more days before we break out higher and start to moon, okay? So that's my thoughts on AMPX. That'll give you a nice tight risk to reward, knowing that if it starts to break down in this area, you can stop out just below that 320, or you wait to take this trade until it gets really tight, and then you can risk pennies to make dollars here, okay? So keep that in mind. That's AMPX. I did have that on my watch list, but I did end up taking it off because I think there's better plays out there. I'm just keeping an eye on Lululemon because we did the earnings on this and I want to see how well it would hold up. They were doing very, very well. So shout out to them. They can continue to hold this base, continue to trade sideways. We might see a nice base breakout in the future. Wix, we called this base breakout. I'm very proud of this one. We were going through this little side chat with some of the OGs in the Discord, which, by the way, you guys can join. All you need to have is an open mind and a golden heart. Click on my link tree in the comment section. I put that in there for you. Go ahead and join the Discord. We're family in here. Just have an open mind and a golden heart, and we always like to have little chats about what's going on. So Wix is making money. Quarterly over quarterly. It's not as nearly as much as I would like to see, so we might start to see some slowdown, but annually they're doing very, very well, so that's a good sign. This is a technology services play, technology services and information. You can see a beautiful base breakout, and when the overall market was really getting hammered, this thing continued to head up. So I always like to keep that in mind. So what we're waiting for, best case scenario, because I cannot play this now. It's extended from that 10-day moving average. Best case scenario, it comes back down, retests this base, and then takes off. So I'm keeping this on my leaders list because it is a leader. And if it does pull back and retest, I might want to grab a few shares there because it will show me proper risk reward. If I get in here, I can risk this previous day's low at 225, psychological and technical area, and then it can rip, tater, chip. Now we're going to run through these ones a little faster, so pay attention, and then we are going to go over all of your tickers. I see you guys. Praneeth says, I just joined back. Did you explain MSTR? We are actually going to get to MSTR. It's on my leaders watch list, and it is a beautiful, beautiful chart. And of course, we'll go over your INTC very, very soon. And anybody else that has a ticker, we're going to go over your ticker as well. So KTOS, it's a leader right now in the global aerospace, not global, but aerospace defense. So KTOS, definitely keep it on your watch list. I know B. Stewie is keeping a close eye on this thing. We're going to see what happens with this thing. If it pulls back and starts to form a trend or a base, that would be a good sign. You can see it had this nice basing area right here before it broke out, retested, and took off to the north side. So we'll see if KTOS wants to have some continuation. Of course, DEC, this is on my top of the watch list. So of course, we have Reddit on the top of my watch list and DEC on the top of my watch list. What I love about DEC, guys, pay attention here. This is what I love about DEC. We are making money with DEC, okay? They're making money. They have 1.62 million average volume, 31 billion market cap, and it has this beautiful basing top. But what I love is an undercut and rally. It can be one of the most spectacular bullish signs in a stock, showing that we had this uptrend right here. It looked very, very good, very tight, and then we get this undercut, meaning it goes well below all of its key areas of support. So here, all of this, it undercuts, and then what happens that same day? It rallies right back up into its channel. That's a very, very nice sign. Now, this trend broke out on DEC. I did not catch this. I was working at the time. Very interesting, though. I kept an eye on it. The market was a little wishy-washy on Friday, but you can see it did break above the trend. But I like this base. I like this basing breakout right here at 212. So I am going to make sure I have my alert on DEC. Let me just make sure I have it on DEC. So it is on DEC right now. So if it gets above previous day's high, I'm definitely going to keep a closer eye on this. I think that would be a beautiful area to enter, and it might give you proper risk reward, whether you're using the same day stop as your low stop, or the previous day's low. Just risk accordingly, okay? And we already talked about VST. It did break out from that area. It's at its retest area. This could be one of the best times to buy or one of the worst times to buy, depending on your risk management and your risk tolerance. So I like VST here. Of course, Jolene's hood took off from that base breakout. She brought up this basing pattern to me just a week before this happened. So I put this on my leader watch list because it looked better than any of the other crypto, the crypto buyers like Coinbase. If you take a look at Coin was not looking nearly as good as this chart. It's actually trending down. If you guys look right here, it's actually trending down. Sure, it broke out of this area, but look at the moving averages. The 10 and 21 are below the 50. I don't like it. It's not looking good. What do we want to look at? The leaders. Hood is your leader. Okay, so keep Hood on your watch list. Of course, we're keeping an eye on HIMS. I'm not too excited about HIMS, but if you look at it, you have this beautiful trending area. The moving averages are starting to work out right here. So if it can start to go, we have an RS rating of 98%. It's still a leader in its area, but not my favorite chart. All right, let me bring up just a few more. I'm in APP. I did take this trend breakout. This has more of a basing breakout at this 347 area, so keep an eye on that. If we can get some volume, the RS rating is 99. Very, very good for AppLovin. After a huge move up like this and a pullback, we starting to consolidate sideways. It held most of its gains, so that's what I like to see for APP. If it can get going, I will add into this, so we'll see very soon. And then my last two, okay, pay attention to these, folks, because these are some doozies. Beautiful charts. I don't know, whether you want to play something like this or not, but these are beautiful charts, and I think you really need to keep an eye on it. First up, we have Root, R-O-O-T. I love the earnings on this. If you guys look here, well, you might not be able to see it. Let me put this in front of you. And if you want to set your chart up like mine, you can just go to my YouTube, my free trading list there. And you'll find right away that how to set this up. Covey does a very, very nice job on setting this up. And you can see these earnings just constantly climbing. It looks really, really good quarterly over quarterly. And Root had an amazing debut after it came up off of these lows, making these humongous moves here. It just climbed over 672% and then held some of those gains and then gapped up again on earnings and then traded sideways again. So it's pretty volatile. It moves very, very fast. But I really respect this $86 area. We came back down. We're retesting it again. So if it wants to hold this area, I think you can find proper risk reward here. And if it breaks out higher, I think we can really start trending, because right now you could consider this a stage one. I think once we start to make a stair-step pattern and it's not so volatile and crazy, we could see a nice gradual incline on this that can make you some serious, serious money if you're able to position in there properly. And then last but not least, MSTR. Why do I like this? Well, you're like, well, Dave, this is almost a $400 stock. Well, you can use MSTU. That's a lot cheaper, right? How's 1313 sound? And you're playing the 2x leverage on this. So when it moves up, it's going to move up it's going to move up twice as fast. So let's look at MSTR, because you want to look at the MSTR for the actual price. And we called out the trend break. Okay, Danny was talking about I was too chicken to take it. He said that about himself. Okay, we don't talk like that in our Discord, but said he was too chicken to take it. And I get it. I get it. You know what turned me off about VSTR is if you look all the way back here, ever since it started to climb here, it held this 10-day moving average so nice. And then after this huge move, it did not hold this trend breakout. It actually broke down below its 50-day moving average, giving a lot of those gains back. And that's what I didn't like to see. For a little while there, I did not watch MSTR, but then I started noticing that we have a beautiful area for a trend break. I love seeing that trend break. Now, I cannot get into this. I've already missed this move, okay? Because now it's extended. Now it's too far from that trend break area, okay? So now I have to wait for my time again. So maybe, perfect case scenario, we have this basing top here. It's going to have a hard time getting through. Let's say this thing moves higher and bounces ahead a few times, gets tighter, and then breaks out from there. So let's say it does this, trades sideways, gets a little tighter here, little tighter, and then breaks out. We would be able to take half of our shares right here at this top, move our stop up to break even, and then it can either head higher or stop us out for break even on the last half of that trade. So those are my opinions, okay? Now, with that being said, I have to take a little sip. Woo, jaw jockey's getting a little sore. And do me a favor, please hit that like and subscribe button. Share this with your mama. She'll love it too. And we are going to go over every single ticker that's brought up in the chart. So if you guys are still with me, thank you so much for being here. If the OGs are a little sleepy, a little tired, you don't want to be here for this, I totally understand. This is my white knight scenario. I might have to save a few of these people looking at these garbage stocks, but that's what I like to do. That's the whole channel, is to help get people more focused on trading the right stocks. So if you're done with me, I bid you adieu. But if you're here for the tickers that you call out, we are going to go over them right now. So do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Vote on the poll. Do you think Trump coin is a great investment opportunity, a scam? Unsure what's going on exactly, or just here for this jaw jockey to spit the truth? Let's take a look at Trump USDT official and see where it's at right now. If we zoom out, you can see here it's trying to hold this low. This was actually a back burner strategy. If it holds this low, that back burner strategy is going to look really, really good. But that's that. So, all right, let's go through the list. We can start with, let's see here. All right, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to start where I posted the link tree, which is up about, I don't know, 10 things. It looks like Sandra McDonald, RES. Sandra, there was a question. Are you still holding, what was that beautiful breakout? That beautiful breakout that we talked about. GEV, was it? No. Was it GEV? Yeah, let me look at GEV. Hang on. Yeah, are you still holding GEV, Sandra? I need to know. You got to put that in the chat, Sandra, because I know when we talked about this, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I talked about GEV being a beautiful basing breakout, but because I was hands off, I couldn't take this trade. But then you commented and you said you got that base breakout, I think at 350 or 352. I don't remember exactly what you said, but I need to know, Sandra, are you still holding this base breakout? Because if you are, it is a beautiful mover. You're up $50 a share right now. Sold and made money. Okay, what were your sell rules, Sandra? Because it didn't even close below a 10-day moving average. I'm honestly happy that you made money. I'm glad you played the base breakout. It looks really, really good, but why would you sell? That's my question. Why would you sell? It never closed below a 10-day moving average. It was a beautiful base breakout, and this is what we're waiting for, guys. We're waiting for these base breakouts. If they break the base, then you need to hold this trade until it closes below a 10 or a 21-day moving average. That's just the way I trade. That way you capture the most of this. It's up to $401, or at least sell half if you're nervous, and then sell the rest at break even, so that way you can hold on to your winners here. So Sandra, I'm glad you made money, and thank you for sharing that with me. So we're going to start just under this, and let's see. BC, we agree. So we're going to start with Sandra's RES. She's asking about RES. Let's take a little peeky gander. So there's a few things that I don't like about RES. But I can see why you are bringing it up. So here's the thing. The RS rating for RES is only 52. This isn't very good. It means when the overall market was pulling back, RES was doing the same thing. It wasn't holding its strength. I see this daily downtrend where we're breaking above it finally. That's a good sign. But what I need to see here, Sandra, is I need to see new higher lows put in. So yes, we have a big trend break, but the RS is garbage, and we are just getting into an area where there's more resistance. But what I do want to point out is if we just wait and we start to pull back and we create a new higher low right here, and then we continue and we put a new higher low in here, then we might have a basing breakout right here. And if we do, that's best case scenario. You can take your trade, risking previous low, and then this thing has a chance to get out of its stage 4 decline, goes into a stage 1, and then maybe we'll start a stage 2. But I still think you need time. This thing really needs to prove itself, and we'll see. And Sandra, I understand you got nervous, but you got yourself an amazing play. You got yourself an amazing stock. It was a beautiful base breakout on GEV. And look at the RS rating, a 98 RS rating, girl. You had that in the handbasket. Next time, you need to understand, you need to let your winners run. Cut your losses quick, let your winners run. It's that simple, okay? So I understand with you getting nervous, though. It happens. But that's GEV, Finn McCool. That's GEV. We're extended right now, Finn McCool. I like that name. We are extended right now. So if you're waiting to get into this thing, or if you're just trying to buy blindly, you need to be careful because this thing could easily pull right back down before heading higher, okay? So just keep that in mind, or it could just go straight up from here. Sure, of course it could. But I would not expect that to happen. I would expect this thing to at least ingest some of this data, or even if it did head higher, we'll trade sideways, maybe do a rough pullback. You know, if you like GEV, keep it on your list. But I would not try to play with something that broke out of its base already. It is looking good. It is a nice looking stock. So we'll see if it has that continuation. So we'll see. GEV Vernova, excuse me. All right. All right, let's see what else we got in the chat, baby. So we already went over VST, Finn McCool, AMPX. We went over that because of last week. Let's take a look. I just joined back. Did you explain MSTR? I did explain MSTR, but we did not go over INTC. So I hope you are with us, Praneeth. I hope I'm saying that right. But INTC, so this is one of those things, guys, that I don't want anybody bringing up, and I'm not picking on you, Praneeth. I just want everybody to understand. When you guys ask me tickers like this, I would love to see them first above a 200-day moving average and trending to the north side. So we went over INTC before. This thing's trending down and it's below a 200-day moving average. I am not looking at this thing. I'm not even going to talk about it because I am only looking at stocks that are trending to the north side that are at least a minimum above a 200-day moving average. So if you guys are going to call out a stock, you need to understand I need those two pieces of criteria. Trending to the north side, trending up where you can see this is trending down. We want to see something like this where it's trending up, where right now this is trending down. So I don't like INTC at all. It's just an absolute garbage stock. And so that's why we're going to have this criteria now. We're going to have it above a 200-day moving average, and it needs to be trending up. Okay, guys? And again, I'm not picking on you, Praneeth. It's just I want you guys to be focused on stocks that are going to at least do you good. All right? This thing ain't on sale. This thing's telling you it's bleeding. It's bleeding, and you don't want to park your money in something that's bleeding like this, okay? All right. Next up, let's take a little peeky gander. We did GEV already. Woohoo, excellent show, guys. Oh, thank you, No E, of course. No E is a huge support. I appreciate you. We have HSAI. Let's take a peeky gander at that. Now, this is looking pretty good. Looking pretty good here. Who put this one out? Yosef. Of course it's Yosef. HSAI. A 99 RS rating, and it is trending higher. I have a feeling that this is a Chinese stock. Let me just see really quick here. Yeah, so Shao King Jian, Shanghai, China. So just keep in mind when you're playing these Chinese stocks that there's much more inherent risk because, you know, their leader can come out and say, you know what, you guys are too big, you're not paying this. You know, we're gonna take over your company. That's what they can do over there. It's not a free market, okay? But this does look good. I do like where it's sitting. Just keep in mind it does have that inherent risk. You got a basing area, and it's trending higher here. So it's looking good. It's looking good. A nice RS rating. Definitely not one that I'm going to be looking to play just because I like my leaders, but I like how tight this is getting. I like the nice trending up higher, the RS rating and the basing at the top, that 1559. No E, I think that's more of your style trade. B Stewie, if you could give me your list, I would. Oh, you already put them in there. Thank you, sir. And Joseph says INTA. Let's take a peeky gander at INTA. Now this is nice. So I like this. It's ingesting some of this push up here. You can see a nice base breakout before earnings came in. And now we're getting a nice basing area right here. That's nice. I also see a trend breakout, but it wasn't really holding many moving averages, so it's not very clean. So yeah, I do like that. That's $68 area, or we could use a psychological 70 for a simple base breakout. So I like INTA. As for earnings goes, that actually looks good as well. Technology service and packaged software. It looks like they're trending higher with their earnings and their profit net margin percentage. So yeah, actually, you know, I think I want to add this one. I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this onto the leaderboard list, Joseph. So thank you so much for bringing that up. This looks good. This looks good. I like INTA. Thank you so much for bringing that up. And that's why this is exactly why I do this show, guys, because this right here, I can't catch them all. This ain't Pokemon. You know, you can't catch them all, guys. We need help, okay? I'm trying to do my best to help you. And look, Joseph stepped it up. He threw a ticker. This is what I want to see. This is what I'm looking for. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate you, brother. And Joseph, you've been around for a while, dude. You've been around for a while. You're an OG, baby. B Stewie, let's see. OLO and BE. So OLO is also packaged software, which makes me want to look at Hack. Let's take a look at Hack. Let's see how that's doing. Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah. So your cybersecurities, your packaged softwares, they're going to be doing very good. It looks like a hot sector at this point in time. So definitely keep an eye on that INTA. Keep an eye on OLO. That also looks like it's doing really well. So if you guys look here, you get this big downtrend, right? Nothing's looking very good. And then all of a sudden we get this uptrend. We have an RS rating of 93. It's above all of its moving averages. We just want to see what's going to happen here. We have this big undercut and this rally, but this undercut and this rally took, you know, 3, 4, 5 days to do. So it's not an undercut and rally. It still did it. It still undercut the moving, undercut the area of support, and then rallied back into that area. So it could work out. It really could. I see a few things here. You can see a trend breakout that you would have stopped out on, or if you are feeling a frisky, you have this basing breakout here as well. All right. So I do like that. Very nice one on OLO. Of course, we have BE. Thank you, BE from B Stewie. Wow. Is this energy? Yes, it is. How fast does this move? Let me take a look really quick on BE, because I've been looking for an energy stock. So this thing moves 6.6%. B Stewie, I'm telling you, we're going to do a new segment. I'm not kidding you. B Stewie is just absolutely phenomenal at finding these things. And, you know, he's been with me since the day I started this YouTube, and you can tell this dude is on top of his game. So B Stewie, I love this. I love energy. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, my perfect scenario would be to see this thing do this. Tighter, 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 and then yeet skeetily do to the north side. All right, so if it can do that, I think BE would be absolutely awesome. Now, when it comes to them making money, fundamentally, it's not that sound. They're not doing that good. Of course, they are making some money, but it's not like 25% quarter over quarter and year over year. It's not like completely sound. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But yes, a very good stock. I like the trend, and it's trying to ride the 50-day moving average. Sarah Sosa. Sarah Sosa's in the building. Thank you so much for being here. We got Sandra. We got Sarah. Zamora in here. Erica. I know Erica was in here. The ladies are piling in with, hello, ladies. Hello there. Let's take a peeky gander. What else do we got here? What indicator you use for the trading? Well, that is kind of a broad question. I use quite a few things, but mainly what I use is the moving averages. I like the 10, the 21, the 50, and the 200. I also like to know my RS rating. I also like to understand my fundamentals pretty well. And of course, if you guys ever want to have a one-on-one session with me, it's really cheap. It's only $100 for an hour. Of course, if we go over the hour, that's fine. Reach out to my email. It's in the disclaimer down below. the more section, you'll find my email down there. Just give me an email if you want to get caught up on how I do this or how I trade. I have a few of them already set up. I'm really excited to do this. I will record it. You will get to keep it. And if you don't appreciate what I'm giving you, I'll give you your money back, okay? So any questions like that, I'm more than happy to help. Just keep that in mind. I do mentorships. Let's see. We got, PMW Carl Burr. So Carl Burr, right away, if you are really looking at PMW, just know that this thing is not a liquid name, okay? If you scroll down here, you'll see the average volume for the past 30 days is only 2.73 thousand. So this is garbage. This is not what we're looking for. You need to have a lot more volume, okay? And, you know, I want to catch you up. And I don't want anybody thinking I'm picking on you. Trust me, I was here. I was calling out tickers that were absolutely garbage when I first started. You can't trade this. You're going to get stuck in this thing, you know, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, bad, bad. Don't look at these. Focus on the leaders. Focus on the stocks that I'm giving you and that B. Stewie's giving you, okay? Because you don't want to get stuck in something like this. Trust me. You do not want to get stuck in something like this, okay? So I'm not even going to look at this stock. But we're going to get you up to date. Trust me, we're going to get you up to date. You're going to start looking at leaders. You're going to start liking it. But let's start at looking at things that have at least 1 million average shares traded in a day. And if you want to learn how to figure all that out, of course, I have lots of YouTube videos out there, and I'm always going to refer to the mentorship to get you caught up. All right. Predators in the building. He said, gotta go. Bye. See you, buddy. Love ya. Hope everything's going good. Finn McCool says PEGA. Now, this is what I like to see. This looks a lot like GEV, doesn't it? Let's take a look at GEV. See this basing breakout, and then it breaks out, retest, takes off. Okay, now this PEGA, let's take a peeky gander. We have a beautiful basing breakout, and it's taking off. Now, I would not suggest anybody get into a stock that's already extended from the 10-day moving average. Best case scenario, you'd want to see this thing kind of come back, retest this area, and then take off, hopefully, right? 96 RS rating. It's trending higher. It's beautiful. I like PEGA. Let's take a look at a peeky gander at the finances. It looks like they are earning some money. It looks like they're kind of all over the place. It's not like quarterly over quarterly, 25% every quarter, but they are starting to get their foot a hold, and it looks like they're actually making some net margin percentage. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. This thing could have continuation, and this might, I mean, you might be able to consider this a leader. Back in 2021, you can see there's some resistance up here, but I think that's long enough ago that that's not going to really count so much into being an issue. So I like PEGA, very nice call out there. Finn McCool with one of the coolest names. ISRG, let's take a peeky gander at that one as well. And that looks close to the same as well. Are these aren't in the same, no, these aren't in the same category. What about PEGA? Is that in the same sector? Let's see. Nope, that's technology as well. So GEV's technology, PEGA's technology, but this next one, ISRG, is actually in health technology. So that's very interesting because I know that XLV, the actual sector itself, is getting a bounce off this area of support. And that's why we were looking at HIMS and stuff like that. So it's surprising to see that ISRG is actually doing so damn well. This looks like it could end up being a leader in this market. Let's look at its fundas really quick. It's just kind of trading sideways. They're making some money, but it's nothing crazy. It looks like their annual margins, they're not making, 25% year over year, but that's A-okay. Quarterly, it just kind of looks like they're trading sideways. So it looks like this could be a leader. I don't think it's got all the characteristics, but with an 89% RS rating, this is a good stock to watch. You can see we had a nice basing breakout right here. I like it. I like it. And I think you got your eyes on the right stuff, Finn McCool. So thank you for calling those out. Thank you for pointing those out for us. And but just keep in mind, if you didn't get the basing breakout here, then you don't want to get in at these highs. So I hope if you have it, keep on keeping on, dude, because this is looking great. If you were to take a trade on this basing breakout, you would have got it in the morning, I would risk, because this is a gap up, I would have risked this low here, that same day's low right here, and then you would have a beautiful entry. You know, you could have got in the morning sometime, right at the base breakout. You know, right here where we're at, you would already be up. Let's see. Wow, 17R. Holy cow, this thing really got to ripping. So it must be a pretty fast mover. ISRG, let's take a look. ISRG. Oh, it only moves 2.5%, which is pretty crazy because this looks like, yeah, so this must have got a piece of news. It must have got a piece of news because this thing moved 8%, which is surprising. That's, 3 times the amount that it normally moves. We could dive into the deep dirty. We could figure out all the news. We could figure out, all that good stuff. But we're going to carry on. We're going to say great eye on that. Finn McCool, I like it. Now, Netgear, yeah, B. Stewie, I appreciate you calling these out, dude. So Netgear, I was watching this last week. 95 RS rating. This thing's a little off when it comes to the fundamentals, but this is what we look for on trend breakouts, okay? So pay attention here. Check it out. Here's a nice trend. Here's a breakout in this area. You can see it also had some basing breakouts. You could call that a basing breakout, and you could call this a basing breakout. You could call this the retest of that basing breakout. So multiple areas on Netgear to get in with a nice RS rating. The fundamentals are a little wonky, but still looking good. So I like the trend, like the base. The stock still looks like it's primed to go higher, but we'll have to wait and see. It's trading at 27.17 right now. I still think there are better stocks out there than Netgear, but if you're looking at those cheaper stocks, this might be one that you would want to keep on your watch list. CMRX is up next. CMRX, wow, look at this big pop here. Big pop, had to have been on some news. We're not getting good fundamentals on this, and this is a pharmaceutical and health technology, so it comes with some more inherent risk, and they are burning through money right now. It's just absolutely garbage when it comes to like how much money they're in debt, like $180 million as of 2023. So just keep that in mind. Not looking too good for CMRX, but technically, yes, huge push up on volume. It's holding this area, and in due time, this thing might end up continuing higher, but I think there's better stocks out there to watch than this one. Danielson says rum. Let's take a peeky gander at rum. So this thing, fundamentally wise, not good, but technically wise, it pushed up, big push up, gave back a lot of those gains, and now is just kind of channeling sideways. So after a big expansion, we're expecting contraction, and it looks like that's what we're getting here is that contraction. So I think some more time to set up, this might actually hold true, but I much rather see something like this. Perfect scenario would be like this. 3 new higher lows before heading higher. So just needs more time. RS ratings doing it for me. When it comes to, how much money they're making, I mean, as of 2023, they were really getting their butt kicked. Let's look at quarterly though. They're still, down 25 million. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one. Keep an eye on rum. I know you guys have been talking about rum quite a bit, but I'd much rather you watch the leaders rather than watching rum. I think rum needs some more time, but we'll see what happens with that. Rum is technology service and internet software service, so you can obviously find a few better ones out there, so we'll see what happens there. Let's see, Carl Burr says, not at all. I just learned lots already. Good, brother. It makes me happy. I know when a lot of people come in here, I don't want to break hearts. I don't want to piss people off. That's the last thing I want to do. I want to teach. I want to have fun doing this, and I want you guys to enjoy yourself while you're here. But I also want everyone to be susceptible to learning. If you're going to get mad or angry from what somebody's saying, and you can't just ingest the information and take it upon yourself, then trading's not going to be good for you because you're going to be wrong a lot in trading. And I always say you're a loser unless you're learning. You always need to make sure you are learning from everyone around you, whether it's their mistakes or whether it's something they're trying to help you with. You need to learn from your own mistakes first and foremost, and that's the only way we are going to get better, okay? Now, before I carry on, I see there's a couple more in here. I see Serve and Lunar and Himex. Do me a favor, take a little peeky gander at my screen. This is, I don't ask of much from you guys. I'm going to refresh this, though. Let's see what kind of likes we got here. So right now we were at 14. We're up to 20 with 21 watching, so I'm not going to argue with that. 27 votes on the poll here. Do you think Trump is a scam? Is Trump coin a scam? Is it a great investment opportunity, a scam, or unsure what's going on exactly? Well, 18% think it's a great investment opportunity. 36% say scam, scam, scam. 32% also say unsure what exactly is going on. 14% say just here for the jaw jockey to spit some truth. And truth is what we spit here. And if you can't handle the truth, get out of the kitchen. Carl Bear, I appreciate you being here. And thank you very, very much for those words. B. Stewie says you're in the right place for sure. You are darn tootin', you're in the right place. And also, thanks, B. Stewie. Beef Stewie is my man, my day one. Let's see, Yosef says ULCC, strong sector. Maybe there will be a second chance for an entry. So let's see, what is the sector? Frontier Group, NASDAQ, in transportation and airlines. This is the sector? Transportation and airlines? Yeah, so that would mean like Jets is probably doing well. Jets looks like it's getting ready to break out, which is the airliners. So if we look at that ULCC, yeah, it's probably going to look quite similar. Yeah, nice breakout here. That's probably going to be in line with like Carnival Cruise. And if we zoom way out on the weekly time frame, you can see, we've had this huge downtrend, huge. So it might end up working out. But Frontier Group Holdings is your transportation and airlines. Let's take a look at Serve. I haven't looked at Serve, I don't think, in a little while. This is the robotics. And what we liked about Serve is it had a humongous push up. I think I made some money on this thing. I think they came out with a robotics that was going to start going into a lot of medical areas and stuff. And they ended up coming out and beating their annual estimates. But right now, they're just bleeding money. They're bleeding money. So this is a very, very speculative stock, okay? So just keep that in mind. It's really loose up here too. Of course, I understand why, you're interested in this thing. With an RS rating of 99, that's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. So I see why you're looking at it. I don't like it. You can see this thing was tight here, and it gets wider, 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 and choppy. So I don't really care for that. But just keep that in mind. It's wide and choppy. We want to see this thing get really tight, and it's just not tight. But yeah, I see why you're watching that. LUNR, goodness, how is LUNR doing? Wow, Intuitive Machines, this is Daniel's baby. I remember we were doing shows on it right here. We were doing YouTube shorts on it because everybody was talking about this. It's when they landed on the moon, but it like tipped over sideways. I mean, it was crazy. And I even said you can even go back. That's what I love about YouTube is that, you can go back. You can watch all my call outs. You can see, I mean, I did a whole thing in August, and you can see if you would have just bought everything that I said blindly in August, I'm not telling you to do it, but back in August, you would be a rich, rich man. My wife says, well, why didn't you take your own advice? And hindsight's now 2020. Back then, you're going to be skeptical of a lot of things. But we were talking about Lunar, and we were talking about how this thing is, probably headed right back down. But the cool thing about Lunar is that it jumped on the hype train with AI. It jumped on the hype train with quantum computing, and it had a few good entries. It's now getting a little wide and loose. So we'll see if it wants to hold out up here. But some overhead resistance back here. You're going to see a lot of overhead resistance in that $40 area. So be careful if it does actually get up to that price tag. I don't really know if it will, but it's still holding an RS rating of 99%. So it's still strong, still looking good. And we'll see if it actually wants to continue higher. Finn McCool says HWM and JP Morgan. So HPM, yes, this is looking very, very good. What sector? Electronic technology and aerospace defense. So we were looking at KTOS in our aerospace defense. This is looking quite similar to that. So KTOS looks like it's a little stronger than HWM, but still a very nice stock in a very strong sector. JP Morgan, let's take a look. So these bank sectors, I called out that Goldman Sachs, GS, is going to be your leader in this. JP Morgan's looking very, very close to that. JP Morgan The RS rating's pretty similar. I don't think it matters which one you play, but yeah, these are both, trending higher. Let's take a look at XLF, because XLF is going to be your ETF, and you can see it's above all of its moving averages. The moving averages are starting to converge where they're heading back up. The RS rating is only 80, but still, it's doing much better than when we looked at it last week. Much, much better than last week. So that's a great sign. So if you're looking at JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, or any of these bank ETFs, you can tell they are benefiting very, very well. RS rating of 89, so I like that. Another nice call out. He says, all of these have come up on my scanner last week, got ISRG at 560. I just want to see where you picked that up. 560. Okay, that's not too bad. To me, that's still a little extended from where you wanted to get it. But I see you took the all-time high, which is great. But I still would like to kind of see my risk. Now, my question for you is, if you got it at 560, FinMic cool, and you're using proper risk management, I'm really curious what your exit strategy was when you took it at 560. Were you using the low of day as your stop, previous low of day, or this low down here at 516? Can you let me know? Let me know what your stop was, and I'll come back over here and kind of bullshit with you. Jeff Rosenberg, what's going on, brother? If you're still with me, because I know it takes me a long time to get to all of the names in the chat. HIMX, let's take a little peeky gander just for you, as HIMX is a electronic technology and semiconductor stock. Now, one thing I do want to point out, when we look at this, okay, it looks like it's trying to exit its stage 1 and start a stage 2, so it's looking good. But you have to understand, HIMX is a lagger. If you're going to look at HIMX, then you're going to want to watch NVIDIA, you're going to want to watch AVGO, you're going to want to watch ALAB, you're going to want to watch ARM, because these are your leaders, bud. These are your leaders. I didn't mean to call you bud. I feel like you don't call adults bud. It's like, I had a guy call me bud at a construction site, and I was like, bud, like, who the hell are you? So apologize for calling you bud. But if you're going to look at HIMX, a semiconductor, I would highly suggest looking at NVIDIA, AVGO, or ALAB for your leaders, right? And then you can use our resource page right here to look at these single stock ETFs if you want to find a cheaper price. So if you're like, well, ARM's too expensive or AVGO is too expensive, you can look at Broadcom on here, which is AVGO. You can use AVL or AVGX to get a cheaper price and still play that volatile level. But I don't want to just push off your question. If I look at this thing, I think it already had this trend breakout. It's a little choppy, a little sloppy, but with an 89 RS rating, it's looking pretty good. So if you're holding, congratulations if you're up that money. Just keep in mind, if the leaders start to pull back, if SMH starts to pull back, this thing's not going to keep leading. It's going to pull back much harder, much faster. Their earnings are a little all over the place, but they are making money. So that's a good sign. Annually, though, since 2021, they actually have been doing worse and worse. From 2021, it looks like they earned 1.5 billion 22, 1.2 billion 23, less than $1 million. So you can see they're not really making they must not be making the best decisions with their money. So focus on the leaders. I promise you'll be a lot better off. Sarah Sosa, she says IRM. Let's take a peeky gander. So if we zoom out, we can see IRM is just fighting to stay above this 200-day moving average. Big pullback with an RS rating of 84%. That's still relatively close. I'd rather see it closer to 90, at least 89 to 90%. So when we're looking at this thing, I think there's a lot better stocks out there that you could be a part of. It looks like they're trying to make some money, or they've made good enough decisions where they are making some money annually. Let's take a look quarterly. They're slowly and gradually heading higher as their profit margin, the net profit margin, looks like it's heading lower. So I think this stock could do a lot better in those sectors. And
we appreciate your support.
Dennis Sivar, thank you for your subscription. I appreciate that. Appreciate you being here and subscribing. So with IRM, I mean, this is kind of up in the air to me. It's trending down. It's trending down right now. That's not the best sign. When you see something trending down, when the overall market looks like this, you know, and it's starting to break out higher where IRM pulled back even harder below its 50-day moving average. And, you know, just teetering around that 200-day moving average, it's not the best looking stock. You don't have a clean trend or a clean base to play off of. So that's my thoughts on IRM. I could be right. I could be wrong. Who knows? HWM. Yes, HWM. This is the aerospace leader that B. Stewie likes. And they are gradually making money. They're doing it very nice and gradual. This is quarterly over quarterly. They're slowly, gradually making money. And annually, their net profit margin is just going straight up. With an RS rating of 95, this is what you want to watch. If you like that aerospace, that HWM, and that, what is it, KTOS, keep an eye on those. And B. Stewie knows his aerospace. Since the day he started, he talked about aerospace constantly. It was almost annoying, to be honest. But I wish I would have paid a little bit closer attention because he was right. He was dead on about aerospace. Aerospace is crazy. I think there's a lot more room for aerospace to grow, and I am a believer now. So B. Stewie, thank you for making a believer out of me. TSSI, let's take a little peeky gander at TSSI. So what is TSSI? Let's see, technology service. Okay, yeah, technology services. It looks like it's trending up. It looks very nice with an RS rating of 99. I like the look. I like the look of this. And you can consider this a basing area. It's looking a little, you know, it's kind of hard to tell. For me, this is kind of hard because we don't see a perfect base out of this. If I just kind of minimize this here, we could consider this a basing area somewhere around that 1230 area. So just trying to get above it. It keeps creating new higher lows. That's what I like about this, because obviously if you zoom out, you can see this 50-day moving average is holding this stock up very, very nice. And so if you're going to take something like this, you'd want to see it head much higher, much faster. Let's take a look at TSSI on this chart here. I want to see, yeah, it moves 10.9%. So when this thing gets up, it goes. So just be careful. Much faster mover. But yeah, TSSI, keep a close eye on that one. Let's take a look at the fundamentals on this. It looks like they're good. Yeah, so it looks like annually they're doing very well, and quarterly, it looks like they really did some boss stuff back here on its last earnings statement. I mean, I don't have the information right now on this chart, but it looks like their last quarterly statement on Q3 2024, they had, it looks like 689% beat on their percentage change on there. So that's a really, really good sign for that stock. Okay. And if you guys are just joining me now, I am taking tickers. Throw the tickers in the chat. I'm going to get to each and every one of you. If I get to the bottom of the ticker list, then I will be on my way. But until then, we got through the meat of the meeting. If you want to listen to the meat of the meeting and go over all of it, just start from the beginning. Watch it all the way through. I will have my watch time hours very, very soon. I'm very, very blessed to have a following and a community like this to help me get to where I want to be with my goals. So I'm going to stick around to help you with yours. Let's see. Sosa, no E, Sosa, GFAI. Let's take a peek. Oh, yeah. Okay, so right away, I see a big push up higher and a pullback as it's starting to get tighter. Now, GFAI was it was a shit ticker. Let's take a look at it right now. Yeah, it's actually, it looks like it's trying to get, that's semi-annual and that's annual. So they're doing their absolute best here. They're not actually making money right now, and it is a penny stock. Just keep that in mind. But if we zoom all the way out here, guys, it's not looking that great, right? Every time we get a pop, this thing really just shits the bed. So let's zoom out. Like, look, it moves up, it pulls back. It moves up, it pulls back. And every time it does, pushes up, pulls back. This is one of those like pump and dumps, right? So what do you think is going to happen here, right? So unless it gets some crazy news or something like that, I'm not expecting this thing to go any higher. Of course, if you get proper risk reward, you can take that hope. But I just think that new higher highs new higher lows need to happen here. You can consider this the 3, but I just don't like the look of this overall when we zoom out. Let's look at a monthly. Look at this monthly chart. It's just constantly heading lower, you know? And if you think it's going to pop up here and continue higher, there's so much overhead resistance here. So much overhead resistance. If it actually pops back up to 20, it's most likely getting it met with resistance and get sold right back off. So just keep that in mind. GFAI, you know, I've talked about the stock way back in the day. They did get some good news and stuff, but it never followed through with it. So just keep that in mind. You keep bringing up Archer. Okay, thank you for putting the ticker symbol in there. Let's see. Finn McCool said, I set my stop loss for an equivalent of 1% of total equity for ISRG. That's 532. I'll take 1/3 off at the table at 2-to-1 at 616. Raise the stop loss up to just above break even, and we'll take another 1/3 at 3-1. That's what I'm talking about. Where the hell did you come from, Finn? Huh? Finn, that's what I'm talking about. You got a plan. You got a game plan. ISRG, you got a game plan in this. So Finn, go ahead and got in at around the 560 area. His risk is 532. So right down here at the gap up previous day, it looks like right around that area. Beautiful. I see why you did that, because you have a big area of support here. Multiple days it held at 532. So I can see why it's there. And then you're selling as you get up into strength. This is what I want. This is what I want everybody to do eventually. If you're new, these are the kind of things that you'll be saying in just a few years. Hopefully less, hopefully quicker, okay? But sometimes these take some time. You need to understand what is going on in the overall market. You need to understand how to speak and how understand risk reward. You need to understand all this stuff. And bam, Finn McCool is a breath of fresh air in this chat room right now. He's taking 1/3. He's taking 1/3. He has his areas where he can take his risk multiples out and make that money. He has a stop loss, a definitive stop loss. With that being said, congratulations, brother, because you are focused and you are in the right direction, and you're looking for profit margins of 17R compared to your 1. Daniel says, thank you, David. You are quite welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. Finn McCool, last 1/3 run, exit on the drop below the 12 EMA. Hell yeah, brother. Perfect. No E says Archer, ACHR. Beautiful. Let's take a look. Now, I brought this up before, 98 RS rating. Not today, we didn't, but this is in the aviation sector. Now, we've already identified your leaders. HMW, if I got that right. Let me see. Yeah, HWM, excuse me. HWM and KTOS. ACHR is also in the aerospace defense sector. It's got a nice RS rating, but it's not the leader. It's lagging to the other two, to HWM and KTOS. So keep that in mind. It is a lagger. Now, with that being said, it's not really making money. It's just kind of trading sideways and trying to hold on. They actually owe quite a bit of money, over $121 million over the past 4 quarters annually as well. We're up to $480 million in debt with ACHR. So what do you think is going to happen when they run out of money? They're going to need raised capital. Where's that capital going to come from? It's going to come out of this stock. They're going to say, hey, we need $80 million to continue to further our projects. And where are they going to get that money? They're going to take that 80 million shares and they're going to dump it right into the stock, and they're going to take that money out of the shareholders. That's what companies do. I've seen it time and time again. If you don't understand dilution, that's A-okay. Dilution is just basically if 4 guys in a room have $1 in their pocket and they are gambling, right, for quarters. They each have 4 quarters in their pocket. And those 4 quarters are worth exactly what they are. But then if somebody walks in and they walk in with $50 worth of quarters, guess what? Those 4 quarters in everybody's pockets are worth much, much less. Now, obviously, if we think about it in general, no, they're still worth a quarter, right? But when it comes to everybody in the room who owns that money, now those 4 quarters don't look so even, right? So when you got a guy that just comes in and just throws money in there, right? It's diluting it. It's diluting the overall price of what this is actually worth. So just keep that in mind. It's probably not the best simile, but we'll get into dilution later. So I don't like ACHR. It does look like a decent stock if I would just had my blindfolders on and I didn't know what leaders were, but that is that. And guess what? We made it all the way to the end. We made it, folks, and it's 10:41, so that's 20 minutes early for me. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we talked about today? We talked about the earnings that are coming up very soon. I'm very excited about Netflix. Netflix is going to look good. We talked about the overall price cuts. I'm sorry, the rate cuts, okay? We're going to be waiting for those rate cuts and waiting for the news to come out on Thursday for the initial jobless claims. So do keep that in mind. And of course, we went over Trump coin. And I'm going to go ahead and end this vote right here because this Trump coin is 36% say scam, scam, scam. And I'm going to be honest with you, I voted for it too. But you know what? Everybody's doing it. And Trump's a businessman. Milani coin just came out with 5 hours and they just put her on somehow on a Sunday afternoon. You know, everybody's making money, dude. It's ridiculous. But Erica K says, why buy MSTR rather than just Bitcoin ETF? That's a great question. You know, if you look at MSTR, I think a lot of people like it because of what it entails. It's a treasury, right? He keeps buying more and more Bitcoin, right? So they like the look of this. This has a beautiful trend breakout. But you're saying, why not just buy IBIT, right? Why not just buy IBIT? Well, if you look at it, IBIT looks quite similar, right? Well, if we look at IBIT here, you can see IBIT moves 3.9%, where if you look at MSTR moves 8.9%. So it moves a little faster. So it's very, very smart for you to ask that question. Personally, if you're looking at it for the long run, right? You're looking at to dollar cost average into Bitcoin, and instead of actually just buying Bitcoin, you want to play the ETF IBIT. That's totally smart to do. Just buy IBIT, forget about it, let it ride. If you believe in Bitcoin, let that thing go to the moon. But if you're looking at volatility and making your money now in the momentum trade, MSTU is something to look at because it moves much faster. Okay? So I hope that answers your question, Erica, and I'm so happy you are with us. Kraken CRKN, I haven't looked at this in a while. So this is what we need to be very careful with looking at, okay? Look at Kraken. This is a daily time frame. You can't even see it, man. This thing's playing at 12 cents. No, absolutely not. This is not how I swing trade. This is not what I look at. Even on a 5-minute time frame, just to see this thing, I can see why you're excited. It popped up, right? All of a sudden, you're like, oh my gosh, this thing moves up 81% and it pulled back. It's got to be a steal. It's not. Put this on a 4-hour time frame. Look at this. You can't even see it. Every time this thing gets a pop, it takes a shit. So these are the pop and drops. I mean, here's a 30-minute time frame so we can actually see it. It pops, it drops. It pops, it drops. It pops. What do you think is going to happen here? If we keep zooming out, every time it pops and people get excited, it gets sold off into. You need to protect yourself. If you think this thing is going to go higher, then make sure you use proper risk management. Aside from that being said, stay away from these garbage stocks. It's well below a 200-day moving average. The relative strength rating's only 1%. So even if the market or Bitcoin starts to head much higher, much faster, Kraken's not, or Crowd Electronics is not doing very, very well. They're not making any money. They're a highly diluted company. So no. Stay away from this garbage, okay? And I mean that in a loving and caring way. We're trying to protect you here, okay? We're trying to protect you. Don't lose your money in this garbage. Don't be buying this garbage. Look for good stocks that are setting up a trend or a base breakout pattern with volume. When you see that volume break out after the expansion, it gets to contracting. It creates a trend or a base breakout. You buy it when it breaks out, and then you make money. I hope you guys had an awesome night tonight. Make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. Of course, we all think it's a scam. Nobody's fooling anybody on this Trump coin. This thing is just so silly, but you know what? The man's a businessman. He's a businessman. I still think this has room to go higher. I really do. Where is it going to go? I don't have a crystal ball, but we'll see very, very soon. You are quite welcome. And if you guys have made it all the way to the end here, thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody being here. And you're very well. Absolutely, Jimmy. Take care, guys. And I like to see everybody out. I like to say my goodbyes. So if you want to stay in here, I'll say goodbye to anybody who has made a comment in here. I hope you guys have an awesome one. We will see you on Wednesday.